Hello and welcome back to Squirrel Plays. Today we'll be diving into what I hope is one of many videos to come that will be about world building. The idea is to take one single concept and explore it to see how it would affect the world that it's in. And in this video we'll be taking a look at the ability to teleport. And how are we going to do that? Well, we'll be using the spell from D&D 5th edition to define how the ability to teleport works. While I may reference the world 5e lives in, we won't be using that as the only world to experiment in. I should also reiterate that this is not to dunk on 5e as much as I enjoyed doing that. This is just some world building fun, and you can use it for your own tabletops, your own book you're writing, a video game, or maybe you're working on a movie script. Who knows? All of that and other things require world building. So this will just be a good exercise in general. Now, how does 5e say that teleport works? According to the manual, it goes something like this. You and up to 8 willing creatures or a single object that you can see within 10 feet can be teleported. The teleport is instantaneous. It's a 7th level spell, so we'll say in order to cast it, you're probably well educated and experienced. If teleporting an object, it must be able to fit entirely inside of a 10-foot cube. The warp destination must be known to the person casting the spell and on the same plane of existence. Now, we won't be talking about different planes of existence, so we can cross that part out. The familiarity with the location affects how likely you are to be able to successfully warp. And for the sake of this discussion, we'll ignore mishaps, meaning people will only be warping to locations they are extremely familiar with. However, we will be using this next part of the rule as well. If you have an associated object, meaning something taken from the desired location in the past 6 months, such as a book or what have you, that will consider the place familiar and result in a successful warp. Don't ask me how, because that really doesn't make any sense, but hey, those are the rules written by your beloved wizards of the coast. And now we have an established rule set for teleporting in our world, whether that's Forgotten Realms, Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, or the world we actually live in today. With that established, let's now have a look at how that would actually play out. The first thing that comes to my mind when talking about teleport is the idea that no kingdom would be safe. Let's say you have a castle, and between that castle and its outer walls is your city. If you can teleport objects that fit within a 10-foot cube, why not just set up some catapults hundreds of miles away and teleport their boulders mid-flight? They would appear out of nowhere and come hurling towards the city walls. When talking with the Lord of Hamsters about this, he asked the question, why even use catapults? Good question. A 10-foot cube of solid rock isn't exactly light, so you could teleport it in place and drop it directly on top of the castle. Or as he suggested, teleport it up high, let it fall, then teleport it again once it gains momentum and drop it where you want. Now wait just a minute, you annoying but incredibly handsome squirrel, you might say. What about Antimagic Fields? I'll be honest, I don't know how those work in the world of 5e, but let's make something up anyway. I would imagine a wizard wouldn't sit in the castle 24/7 with his hands up in the air, creating a field large enough to cover the castle and surrounding city, so let's say there is a device running that does just that. All it takes is one person to infiltrate the castle and shut it down. And it doesn't even have to be a smooth operation. They could just run in and obliterate the thing, and once they do, they'd have the ability to teleport out immediately once the job was done. And also, if you had a giant anti-magic field covering the entire city, that means nobody could use magic. And I don't think that's something magic-wielding citizens would be too keen on. However, that could in itself make for an interesting plot point in your story. But let's say you got past all that somehow. Just how big is the coverage? The anti-magic field stops magic, not falling boulders. So just teleport the boulder above the field's range. And you know what would be worse than dropping boulders? Dropping poison. And I was looking up some poisons that occur naturally in our own world between different animals and plants, and was going to use those as some examples of just how deadly they can be. But then I realized YouTube might not take too kindly to that. I mean, heck, there's a plant in Australia that I'm fairly certain I'm not allowed to name, so we'll just call it the self-deletion plant. I'm not kidding. It is really called the plant because it's so freakishly painful. The plant has thousands of tiny little hairs on it that will prick you. And if that wasn't crazy enough, you don't even have to really be next to it for that to happen, because the thing sheds. I'm serious, the hairs come off and float around in the breeze, and they can get you that way. And you know what's even better than that? The pain it causes lasts for multiple years. They say it feels like being burned by hot acid and electrocuted at the same time. The pain is so bad that people choose an alternate way out, hence the name. So, lots of fun things you could do there with teleporting that stuff around. But what about something slightly less horrifying? What about shipping goods around? Now, it may just be me, but I'm not 100% sure what the definition means by teleporting one object. If I bundle a whole bunch of wood and put it in a single crate, does teleporting all that count as one object, or would you have to do it for each cut piece? If so, a 10-foot long piece of tree trunk isn't exactly small. That means you could chop trees hundreds of miles away and cut them into 10-foot sections and warp the raw material to wherever it needed to go. And if you could zip material around like that, that means transportation of goods would be at an all-time low. Also meaning that pirates and raiders would have a significantly harder time making a living. Now let's take that concept and ask another question. If we could move material and goods around simply by speaking a few words, what would that do to relations with neighboring factions and kingdoms? Lots of times, relations are established because one side has something the other needs. With teleportation, though, what's the difference between 10 miles and 1,000? If the resources you need are in a location that's inconvenient to get to, you only have to make that trip once. After that, you can zip back and forth right where you need to be. The kingdom of squirrels doesn't have to be limited to one city and what's close by. You could be farming 1,000 miles to the west, harvesting some trees 500 miles north, and maybe do some mining about 700 miles southeast. And heck, maybe you can even have a really good fishing spot 300 miles down south. Now here's one more thing to consider, and then I'll let y'all start coming up with your own findings. This whole concept depends on wizards, right? They're the ones casting the spell and moving stuff around. That means people with this skill are going to be in very high demand. And when you're in high demand, well, you tend to get paid well. For example, look at my channel. It's absolutely not in high demand, and that's why I don't get paid anything. But a wizard could demand quite a high salary, and that salary would be very appealing to everyone else. Now you would suddenly have lots of other people wanting to become wizards so they can get paid big bucks to move stuff around simply by saying the magic word. And if all those people are learning the spell teleport simply to make a buck, what else would they be tempted to do for some money with that ability at their disposal? You have an influx of people with this magic ability now, and they're all looking to make $1. I'm sure some could be tempted to do something less than admirable if they're just in it for the money. So, that's a problem you have now. And this is all completely ignoring the fact that you could teleport an invading force right in front of somebody's doorstep. In a maybe more modern setting, you could have a really elite strike force that you can just instantly teleport wherever you needed them to go. And remember, as far as I know, the range on this teleport ability, there is none. It can go as far as you want, so long as you're on the same plane of existence. But anyway, that is about it. But before I go, I got to do the shout out. Now, obviously, a shout out to all those that participated in the discussion before the video was even made. And that could be you, should you choose to do so. For more of these videos, I plan to bring up discussion topics in the Discord first to see what people have to say, and then I'll take that and make said video. This was the first test run for it, so we didn't have a whole lot of participation, but in the next one, we've already been getting more, so that's pretty awesome. And I could, and honestly should, also make a YouTube community post, but I am constantly forgetting that that feature exists. Except for this week. I've been pretty good about it. But for the actual shout out, I'd like to mention a recent subscriber, Grumpy Old GMs, because that is the greatest name ever, and I aspire to be just that one day. I'm actually pretty close. I got the grumpy part down, and I'm working on the older part a little bit each day. But on a more serious note, their video on making sure everybody is playing the same game had some good advice in it. And now it's your turn. Tell me and everyone else here how you think the ability to teleport would improve your world or absolutely destroy it. Or shoot, have you ever seen teleport used just in your own TTRPG games, and did it make things better, or did it cause you a ton of headache? Squirrel out!